Indrek Kannik, the director of the International Center for Defense and Security, ICDS from Estonia, is the guest of Spotlight Ukraine. And Mr. Kannik, hello and welcome. For the last maybe 6 weeks, we've been discussing with different experts from all over the globe about the spring counteroffensive. But now we got the data leak. So my question is, has the Pentagon data leakage affected the Ukraine spring counteroffensive plans or not?
Well, I don't think that these leaks are so important in this matter, because the details of the leaks are already from the weeks, from the period of what has been month or 2 months ago. So I'm sure that Ukrainians have made their preparations and they have many different options on the table. So I would not consider those leaks too important, taking into account the real situation on the front line at the moment.
But still, is there anyone who benefited from the merger of the secret US and NATO documents, and what are the political consequences of such moves?
Well, of course, it's quite embarrassing for the US, those leaks, no doubt about that. If those kind of leaks happen, then it's always embarrassing for the nation. But so far, if I'm looking what sort of leaks there have been mainly, then sometimes they might have been quite useful for the US and its allies as well. If we see that they are discussing the possibility of some of the nations who have not been actively supporting Ukraine, but have not been on the Russian side as well, their activities have been pretty openly discussed, possibility of Egypt providing missiles for Russia. I think it would work as a counter effort for the Egyptians as well. So I'm sure that not always those leaks have been very unfortunate from the Western point of view.
But still, according to the American intelligence, neither Russia nor Ukraine will come to the negotiating table. And still, there is a huge possibility that there's going to be a continuation of the war, of attrition of the war until 2024. So what do you think of this scenario?
Well, I consider, unfortunately, it's very likely, because at the moment we don't see a real possibility of negotiations. Russian side is still very much looking for adding further territories of Ukraine. They have said pretty openly that they would like to reach at least borders of the Donetsk and Luhansk region, and vice versa. Ukraine is trying to liberate as many of their territories and as much of the territory as possible.
I'm a bit regret, but I have to ask this question. You've probably seen this video of cutting off the head of the Ukrainian soldier. You've probably seen that, but still, is now Russia is going the way of the new ISIS?
Well, to be honest, this is, of course, emotionally terrible video to watch for everybody of us.
Yep.
But for Ukrainians or for Estonians who have been living next to Russia, it's not that surprising, because that's the way Russia is behaving during the wars. This is not the first time they do something similar. They have done terrible things, not only during this Ukrainian war, but also during World War II and the territories they occupied. So it's not that surprising. It's awful to watch, it's terrible to watch, it's emotionally devastating to watch it, but not that surprising.
Is the West still ready to support Ukraine till the Ukraine's victory in 2024, 2025, 2023?
I think now we're coming back to this question of Ukrainian counteroffensive. I think it's extremely important for Ukraine to liberate at least some of the territories during this spring and summer. So I think as far as the Western countries see that Ukraine is doing well on the front line, then the support would be there. So that would give an additional chances that there will be even more support during the late 2023 and during 2024. So I think this counteroffensive and effectiveness of it and how successful it is, that is going to be very, very important from the Ukrainian point of view.
So somehow the Ukrainian army has to pass the test this spring or summer?
Well, there are different experts in the world. I think some are more cautious I'm cautiously optimistic because I think Ukrainian military leadership has shown great skills already during this war. Ukrainians are quite well prepared. I think they have enough reserves, and now I think we are reaching the point when Ukrainian troops have been also able to train with the new Western military systems what have reached Ukraine during the last couple of months. So probably they need a month more or so, but I'm cautiously optimistic that there will be a counteroffensive and Ukraine is going to liberate further territories during this spring and summer.
Thank you so much. And so we've seen that the Putin's regime is ready to escalate as much as they want to do this. So we've seen the news about the new wave of mobilization. How do you think, for how long are they going to do this?
Well, first of all, I think they have not reached a similar wave of mobilization like they had last fall. After the Ukrainian successful counterattack in Kharkiv region, they started this wave of mobilization. Now they do that, but on the smaller scale, definitely. And I think that is going to be a problem from Russian point of view, because those troops who have been on the frontier for quite a long time, who were trying to have their own offensive during the winter in Kreminna, in Svatove, in Avdiivka, in Bakhmut, of course, in Vuhledar, they are exhausted. And I think Russia has lost vast majority of their well-trained troops by this stage. So I think Russia definitely needs, if they want to prolong this war, another round of mobilization. But that is something Putin is a bit concerned, because the first wave of mobilization didn't go that well. That was the only period during the war, this stage of the war, where the popularity of the Russian leadership started to drop in the opinion polls. We can't trust Russian opinion polls, of course, too much, but it's still a kind of a sign. So I think he's very concerned about new wave of mobilization.
Does Ukraine need a new wave of mobilization?
Well, it's more difficult to say. I think we know here in Estonia more about Russian army than we do know about Ukrainian army. I think Ukraine has been very good in keeping their war secrets, so far at least.
We can teach American intelligence.
Yeah. I think Ukraine has more well-trained troops ready now who have not been so far fighting than Russia. But if the war goes on, then probably, yes, Ukraine would need new wave of mobilization as well.
Still, let's go for the successful counteroffensive this spring. Thank you so much. Indrek Kannik, the director of the International Center for Defense and Security from Estonia, was the guest of Spotlight Ukraine. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Latest news, trends, and analytics on all about Ukraine. Like, share, and subscribe. Any questions, proposals, and comments, contact us via email.